Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough of the Buffalo Wings. Want to start out with a couple of quick apologies. First, apologies for the audio issues with the last episode. Turns out that going with my normal settings didn't quite work. I don't know if the playoff noise is louder, like commercials seem to be louder when watching TV, or if I was just perhaps talking more quietly during the game because I'm kind of reacting to what's going on, not always sure exactly what to say. But I've had the volume turned down on the game a bit. Hopefully this will be a better audio experience for you who are watching and or listening. Second apology is just that this is going to be the last episode until Saturday. It's Tuesday as I'm doing this episode. We'll post it on Tuesday. Just have some stuff that I am doing over the next few days. I knew that I was going to be off for these few days. If I had done the traditional simulation only of the playoffs, I think I would have finished the playoffs in the World Series. But it's taken a lot longer offline for me to play through these games. But given that we did just sweep the Philadelphia Phillies 3-0, I think it's worthwhile. Can't say that it's my managing that got us there. Very well may have won 3-0 and done even better in terms of runs scored or runs allowed if I hadn't been managing the team. We'll never know the answer to that, but don't think we're going to get through the entire NLCS here. I am as eager as anyone, as you would probably guess, to find out if this can finally be the team to win a World Series and get to a World Series from Buffalo. But we won't find that all out until this upcoming weekend. So appreciate your patience with me, and we'll be back on Saturday with the next episode. But in this one, we're going to see how many games we can play in the NLCS before I have to move on to other things. And we've got quite a challenge ahead of us, although we were 112-50, the best team in the regular season in the major leagues this year, and we've got home field advantage throughout the playoffs. We will be facing off against the defending World Series champion San Francisco Giants, so that should be a good challenge for our Buffalo Wings. We were 2-1 against San Francisco this year, and it's really going to come down to who can generate some offense, because we were number 1 in the National League in runs against. San Francisco was second in runs against. The big divergence is between our offenses. We were the second best team in the National League in terms of runs scored. They were second worst in the 16-team National League in terms of runs scored. So presumably the pitching staffs are going to do a pretty good job in this series. Our hope is we can continue to hold that offense down. We outscored San Francisco by 200 runs over the course of the season. Didn't realize what a difficult park to hit home runs in it's become in San Francisco until I looked at the stats before this series. But since we had a relatively easy 3-0 sweep of the Phillies in our NLDS, and the Giants, on the other hand, took 5 games to dispatch their foe, the New York Mets, we are fully rested. The pitching staff is rested, so I'll probably get creative in the bullpen once again in this series, and we'll see how things go. I'm going to start it off Sincere Shazier on the mound, the winner of Game 1 of the NLDS sweep over the Phillies. Going against Paul Skeens, making big money. He's 32 years old now. Final season for him. Looks like the Reds traded him to the Giants, retained a good chunk of his contract. Looks like he got traded this past offseason. Split this year between AAA Sacramento and the majors. In the majors, he was 4-5 with a 3.33 ERA, more than a strikeout per inning over the course of his career. 1.18 ERA plus, 93 FIP minus. So certainly still a productive major league pitcher. Does have below average movement on his pitches and his extreme fly ball tendencies. Gave up 40 homers a year ago for Cincinnati, which was the most in the National League. 8 this year in 67 and 2/3 innings for the Giants. So hopefully we will be able to score some runs off of him. But with these two pitching staffs, as I mentioned, the two best in the National League, I think the runs are going to be hard to come by for most teams, or for both teams, more accurately. And similar to our series against the Phillies, when you look at the matchups, player versus player, certainly seems like our Buffalo Wings are the better team. And obviously we won a lot more games than San Francisco this year, so that should not be a shock. We'll check in on anything interesting that happens in this game. But hopefully Sincere Shazier can get things off to a good start, and would love to get a 1-0 lead in this series. Obviously, the plan is to go to San Francisco up 2-0, and today is our first step in making some progress towards that goal. And we had an interesting inning for Sincere Shazier in the top of the first. He gave up a game-opening double to Drew Jones and then proceeded to strike out the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in a row. So no runs for San Francisco on one hit in the top of the first. And Deshaun Seifu is going to be leading things off for our Buffalo Wings. We'll see if he can get things started here. And Seifu with the walk. So we've got the guy that we want to have on base here in the bottom of the first. Those of you who have been watching know my view on Seifu. He is always running. Looks like Moises Ballesteros is the catcher for San Francisco, and he's got a gun for an arm. But we'll take a pitch and just see if they're trying to pitch out. Ball for Juan Estrada here on the first pitch. Seifu's not afraid of anyone. We're going to try to steal. And there's not even a throw. So Seifu into second and a 2-0 count for Juan Estrada. Sounds like this could be something brewing for the Buffalo Wings here in the bottom of the first. And pop out to left field from Estrada. That was not what we were looking for. Mike Heiner now up with Seifu on second. Heiner grounds it down to third. 3-1 for the force out. Seifu goes to third, so we need a clutch 2-out hit now from our cleanup hitter, National League leader in ribbies, Shamar Jenneret. Let's see what happens. And Jenneret grounds it out to short to end the inning. So both teams put the first runner on, and both teams did not score in the first here in Buffalo. And we potentially got something brewing here in the bottom of the second, still tied 0-0. Cam Collier walked, and then Tim Gaglia just legged out an infield single. So we've got runners on first and second with 1 out. The young shortstop Steve Anderson up with an opportunity to hopefully get some runs for us. He grounds it down to first. The runners advance to second and third, but there is 2 away now. So it's going to be up to our catcher, number 9 hitter Andres Medina. Runners on second and third with 2 outs against Caden Dana. And he struck out to end the inning. So at the end of 2, no score here in Buffalo. And we're now down 1-0 here in the top of the fourth. Chase Bonaparte just laced a 1-out double to score Dylan Cruz, who had been on second base. So 1 run, 4 hits, no errors for San Francisco. No runs, 1 hit for Buffalo here. Only 1 out in the top of the fourth right now, and still the runner on second in the form of Bonaparte. So things getting a little dicey here for Sincere Shazier. Let's see what he can do against Moises Ballesteros. And it looks like he coaxed a pop-up there for the second out of the inning, going against Leonardo Balcazar. It says Balcaza here, but that's because it's cut off. So runner on second, 2 away. See if Shazier can get out with just the 1 run of damage. Grounds it to Seifu at second. over to Heiner, and we are out of the inning. So after 3.5, San Francisco 1, Buffalo nothing. And we've gotten back-to-back singles here in the bottom of the fourth with 1 out. Bobby Bowling on second, Cam Collier on first, Tim Gaglia up going against Caden Dana. See if maybe we can get something going offensively here. And an infield single for Tim Gaglia to load the bases with 1 out. Steve Anderson, the young shortstop, is up now with the bases loaded. Good opportunity for the Buffalo Wings here. And a single to left field. Bases stay loaded, only 1 run comes in. Was very short in left field, but the young shortstop comes through. The game is tied 1-1. And now Andres Medina up with the bases still loaded here in the bottom of the fourth. Medina flies out to right. The runner at third tags and comes in. So a sac fly for Andres Medina. And Buffalo has struck back with 2 runs after giving up 1 to San Francisco in the fourth. Still have runners on first and second now. Gaglia and Anderson with Seifu up now. We're back to our leadoff hitter for his third at-bat of the day. Seifu grounds it to first. First baseman handles it himself. So Buffalo finally came through here. After 4, Buffalo 2, San Francisco 1. And we made it through 5.5. Buffalo is still up 2-1. As we get ready to hit here in the bottom of the 6th, the Giants have pulled their starting pitcher, right-hander Miguel Mendez, who was put up a 4.38 ERA over 24 2/3 innings out of the bullpen for the Giants this year on the mound. And our Buffalo team did nothing against the reliever for the Giants, so it's 2-1 as we head to the top of the 7th. We are going to make a call to the bullpen. Sincere Shazier in line for the win. Gave up 6 hits and 1 walk while striking out 5 over 6 innings pitched today. We are going to, and it's 93 pitches into the game, so he's just kind of getting into the territory where his stuff may be deteriorating a bit. We are not going to push things given our excellent bullpen. We are going to go to the right-hander Marco Jimenez. Added him at the trade deadline. And he is ready to go against the bottom of the San Francisco order. Balcazar, Mooney, right-handed hitters. And then Colson Montgomery, the third baseman, a left-handed hitter, due up. And it was 3 up and 3 down for San Francisco in the top of the 7th, so we head to the bottom of the 7th. Mendez, the reliever, still on the mound for San Francisco. We've got Medina, the number 9 hitter, up, and then the top of the order. Hopefully we can get an insurance run or 2. It's nice to have the lead, but we've got the smallest lead possible, and would certainly like to try to break this game open a little bit. And things are now getting interesting here in the bottom of the 7th. Medina struck out to start the inning, but Deshaun Seifu just singled, and San Francisco has gone to a left-hander, Matthew Liberatore. So we are going to pinch hit for the left-handed hitting Juan Estrada here. Got lots of good bats on the bench, and we are going to go with Joey Moore right now, the veteran brought on at the trade deadline. Got the right-handed hitter Joey Moore here. Liberatore has already thrown over once to Deshaun Seifu. We're going to see if take a pitch for Joey Moore here to start and see if perhaps they're trying to do a pitch out. Another pickoff throw over to first. They are very concerned about what Seifu's going to be doing. And we're going to send Seifu. Oh, and Seifu is gone. Ballesteros with the gun knocks him out. So now 2 outs here. Maybe got a little bit too aggressive there. This especially because now Moore comes through with a big hit, double down the right field line. Probably would have scored Seifu one way or the other. So that was probably poorly managed by Old School there. Mike Heiner, another left-handed bat up. And we are going to make another substitution. We are going to bring in the youngster Arturo Flores. One at-bat in the majors in the series against Philadelphia. It was literally the first at-bat of his major league career, and he delivered an RBI single after a monster year in the minors for us this year. Another clutch opportunity here for him with a runner on second and 2 outs against Liberatore. And it looks like he grounds out to third, so we may have run ourselves out of, I don't want to say a big inning there, but certainly a chance to add an insurance run. And we are still leading 2-1 as we go to the top of the 8th. And we're going to make another call to the bullpen with a 2-1 lead here in the top of the 8th. 2 outs, but the lefty cleanup hitter Mike Tessier coming up with a runner on first base. We've got the right-hander Marco Jimenez on the mound. Pitched an inning in 2/3 for us, allowed 1 hit, striking out 1. We are going to go to our stopper, the left-hander Lauren Walburn. 2 of the next 3 hitters are expected to be left-handers, and they are pinch hitting for their cleanup hitter. So we like that, got him out of the game, and we feel pretty comfortable about Lauren Walburn going against everybody. But the right-hander Jacob Wilson up with 2 outs and a runner on first here in the top of the 8th. See if Walburn can get the out here. And that's a shot off the right field wall. So a big double, runners on second and third, a stand-up double for the pinch hitter. And now with runners on second and third, Walburn's thrown 1 pitch and it was almost hit out of the park, and now he's going against the right-handed pitcher Chase Bonaparte. We're going to let him go after Bonaparte, but a big at-bat right here. And he popped him up to first baseman Joe Edwards, who took over for Flores, wanted the better defense in there. And we are 3 outs away with a 2-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Would certainly love to get another insurance run or 2 here before we go to the 9th. And with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th, we are pinch hitting for the left-handed hitting Bobby Bolig, who really struggles against left-handed pitching. Brought in the right-handed batting Tyreek Hardage. Obviously gives us a righty versus lefty pitching matchup, and Hardage is better defensively by a large measure compared to Bolig as well, so also will hopefully strengthen our defense for the bottom of the 9th. We'll see what Hardage can do here as a pinch hitter. And he laces it down the right field line, but a beautiful diving catch by Dylan Cruz to save an extra base hit. And we're going to make one more move with the left-handed pitcher on the mound. Substitutions are getting light, but we do have Tim Hull, who is a right-handed hitter, was our starting shortstop much of this year, and is a better defensive player than Cam Collier. So we are going to pinch hit with Hull for Collier, trying to throw everything we possibly can at the Giants as we try to get one more run. And both of the moves we've made this inning will also strengthen our defense for the top of the 9th. And Tim Hull grounds it to short. Looks like the ball was booted, so an error. Hull going to be on first. And Tim Gaglia now up with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th here. Let's see if he can come through with a big hit for us. And he does come through with a single, so runners on first and third now. Got a little 2-out rally going here. And Steve Anderson, the young shortstop, unfortunately he is a left-handed hitter, so matchup not in his favor, but we'll let him swing away here with 2 outs. Anderson, a little dribbler to first. They get the out, so we made things interesting in the bottom of the 8th, but no runs across. 2-1 lead for Buffalo as we head to the top of the 9th inning. And after the pinch hits last inning, we've got some changes to make. Hardage takes over in left field. We're going to pit Tim Hull, who pinch hit for third baseman Cam Collier at second, and slide Deshaun Seifu over to third. So definitely tightened up the defense. We've thrown everything possible except for our backup catcher, Adley Rutschman, at the Giants thus far have a 2-1 lead, and they've got 3 righties in a row coming up. Walburn's only thrown 6 pitches. He's been an excellent stopper for us all year. I don't see a need to go to the bullpen yet to our closer. We're going to see if Walborn can finish this one off for us. I believe he's pretty effective against everybody, and not quite as good against right-handed batters. A little less movement and a little less control, but his stuff is just as nasty against both. And we're going to give him a chance to try to get out of this game for us. So going against the right-handed hitting pinch hitter, actually I'm second-guessing myself. We've got 3 righties in a row coming up. And we've got Yohane Varejo, who's just deadly against right-handed pitching in the pen, as well as our potential closer, Bryce Miller. And I know it seems weird to not be using the closer all that much in the playoffs, but we're going to save him for if he gets into trouble. We are going to go for the right-hander, Yohane Varejo here. So definitely giving plenty to second guess by thinking we were going to go with the left-handed pitcher and then not going with our closer. So we'll see if Varejo can get Ed Stone, the pinch hitter, right here. And Varejo strikes him out for the first out in the top of the 9th. They are pinch hitting again with Nathan Hickey. At this point, we are just going to be playing the matchups. So we are going to go to Juan Veliz and bring the left-hander Veliz into the game. We've got the stupid must face 3 pitchers rule. I had meant to change that because I don't really like that. But we are stuck at this point, so we will go Varejo against Hickey here. Little dribbler. Front of the plate, Medina makes the throw for the second out of the inning. And now Varejo with 2 outs, thrown 10 pitches, going against the right-handed batter, Alex Mooney. See if we can finish this game off here. Yohane Varejo on the mound with 2 outs. And he flies out to left field. So all of the scoring took place in the 4th inning in this one. Pitchers duel won by Buffalo, 2-1. The W goes to Sincere Shazier with the 6th-inning performance, Jimenez and Walborn with holds, and Varejo with the 1-inning save. Player of the game, not surprisingly, the starting pitcher, Sincere Shazier. Was not the prettiest game in the world. We left 15 runners on base, but when all was said and done, the Buffalo Wings did their job today, and we have a 1-0 lead in the NLCS over the San Francisco Giants. And so game 2 today in Buffalo, 1-0 lead for the Wings. We have our presumed ace, Alexis Barajas, on the mound for us. Also some big news today in that the international amateur free agents, I believe that's what this email will be about, if it ever actually pulls up. Yeah, the international amateur free agents are revealed. So we will take a very quick look at them to give you all who are still watching something to chew on in the hiatus between episodes. But before we get to that, I'm going to play game 2. Barajas on the mound for Buffalo. Javier Tovar 32-year-old, 12-9 this year with a 3.50 ERA. Did give up 17 home runs in 156 and 2/3 innings. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher who throws in the low 90s, only has 35 movement on his pitches according to our scout. So potentially seems like a guy who could give up some runs. Interesting, though, he is a 3-time Major League champion at this point, including last season with the Giants, obviously, since he was with them last year and this year. Worked primarily out of the pen in 2033, ended up in the rotation this year. Certainly on paper, the matchup pitching-wise favors us. You can see once again, just looking at all of the players, definitely should be big favorites, but we've got to win it on the field here in the matchup between Barajas and Tovar. Game 2 in Buffalo is about to begin. And it was 3 up, 3 down in the first inning for San Francisco, and Deshaun Seifu just led things off for us here in the bottom of the first with a double, so we'll check in on the action. Number 2 hitter Juan Estrada up, and Estrada singles to the gap in right field. Looks like he's headed to second on a double, and a 1-0 lead early for Buffalo. So hopefully with a runner on second and no outs, we can continue things going. The left-handed hitter, last year's Rookie of the Year, Mike Heiner, up with a runner on second here, still no outs. And Heiner knocks it to left field. Third consecutive double to start off the game. 2-0 lead for our Buffalo Wings now. Still a runner on second with no outs. Cleanup hitter Shamar Jenneret up here against Tovar. And Jenneret drills that one. A 2-run homer for Shamar Jenneret, very similar to Game 1 of the NLDS against Philadelphia, where we had 4 runs in the top of the first without an out. Jenneret had a 3-run homer in that one, 2-run homer in this one. So 4 batters into the game, 3 doubles, a home run, and 4 runs for Buffalo. Still nobody out. We'll play through this inning the way it's going until we get an out at least. Bobby Bolig now going against Tovar, and he draws a walk. Tovar does not look like he's got good stuff today. Has not retired any of the first 5 batters. Cam Collier now up with a runner on first. Ballesteros with his good arm still behind the plate. Don't think we need to be running right now, even though Bolig is a pretty proficient base stealer. And an infield single for Collier. So runners on first and second now, still nobody out. Tim Gaglia up, Javier Tovar having a brutal start to this game. 5 hits, a walk, and 4 earned runs with 2 runners on among the first 6 batters that he's faced. Tim Gaglia walks, so this has just been a brutal outing for Tovar at this point. 7 batters faced, nobody out, bases loaded for the young shortstop Steve Anderson. And he strikes out, so mercifully the first out of the game. Would certainly love to add some more runs here. Andres Medina, the number 9 hitter, up with the bases loaded. And Medina singles up the middle, a clutch hit for the young catcher. Only 1 run scores, so the bases are still loaded, but a 5-0 lead for Buffalo, still only 1 out, and we have batted around, and they have finally mercifully made the call to the bullpen. Alexis Diaz on, Seifu up now with the bases loaded. He started this all off with a double. Hopefully he can do something here against Diaz. And Seifu with a single up the middle here. Another single with only 1 run going to score. Still the bases loaded, but a 6-0 lead for Buffalo here in the first inning. Still only 1 out. Bases loaded now for Juan Estrada, who doubled his first at-bat earlier this inning as well. And he walked him, walks in another run. 7-0 here, Buffalo. Still only 1 out in the bottom of the first. bases loaded for Mike Heiner now. Heiner is plunked, so a hit by pitch. Run scores, 8-0 lead. Hopefully Heiner not hurt, but this is getting out of control very early. The bases still loaded now for Shamar Jenneret. Hit a 2-run homer when he was up earlier in the inning. Jenneret grounds it to second. Looks like a fielder's choice, 4-6. Another run scores, but they'll trade it for an out at this point. So Buffalo up 9-0 here with 2 outs. Runners on first and third. Bobby Bolig up against Alexis Diaz here. And Bolig gives it a ride. RBI single. 10-0 here in the first inning. Runners on first and second now with 2 outs. Cam Collier up for the second time this inning. And Collier goes down looking, but 10 runs on 8 hits for our Buffalo Wings here in the bottom of the first. And we look like we are well positioned to hopefully get a W here, but still have 24 outs to go. And we've got things brewing again here in the bottom of the second with 1 out. Runners on first and second, Steve Anderson and Andres Medina on base. Miguel Mendez, another reliever, now on. He just walked Medina, the first batter he faces. And Deshaun Seifu set to bat for the 3rd time today in the top of the second inning. See if Seifu can continue to keep the pressure on these Giants. And Seifu does single, not going to score a run, but bases are loaded now with Juan Estrada coming up here with 1 out in the bottom of the second. And Estrada pops that one up. That should be an easy play. Would have been the infield fly rule. It was the infield fly rule. So 2 away now. Mike Heiner up with the bases loaded. Can we at least get a run in here? Does not look like that'll be the case. Go 5-4 to finish off the inning at the end of 2, 10-0 Buffalo over San Francisco. And the Giants just finally put one on the board, a solo homer by Dylan Cruz here in the top of the 4th. So a 10-1 lead for Buffalo. That was only the 2nd hit allowed by Barajas. So 10-1 lead. We'll see if Barajas can get out of the inning going after the cleanup hitter Tessier. And Tessier crushes one also. So back-to-back home runs allowed. That is certainly, to use a catchphrase of mine, not optimal. So Barajas was cruising along, now has given up back-to-back home runs here in the top of the 4th. Looks like he coaxed a pop-up here for the 2nd out of the inning. Medina ranges over and makes the play. And now going against the left-handed catcher Ballesteros, he grounds it too short to finish up the inning. So San Francisco does claw back 2 runs on the 2 solo homers as we head to the bottom of the 4th. 10-2 Buffalo leads. And we have things brewing here for Buffalo in the bottom of the 4th as we try to come back. 3 consecutive singles. Tim Gaglia, then Steve Anderson with an infield single, and then Andres Medina with a single. So bases loaded, no outs for Deshaun Seifu. Mike Soraka just came on, their 4th pitcher of the day. He gave up the single to Medina with the first batter he faced. But Seifu now up for the 4th time today in the bottom of the 4th inning. And Seifu looked like a potential double play ball, but only the play was made at second, so a run scores. We extend the lead to 9, 1 away at this point. Runners on first and third for Juan Estrada. And we're going to send Seifu. See if maybe we can get him to second. Yep, we can. So we got the 2 runners in scoring position, runners on second and third. I know we shouldn't be running up 9, but this is the playoffs. We may need every run that we can possibly get. Juan Estrada now up with 2 runners in scoring position at second and third. 1 out. Let's see what Estrada can do. And Estrada grounds out to second. The runners can't move forward, so 2 outs now for Mike Heiner here with a couple runners in scoring position. And Heiner gives it a ride, but not enough of a ride, flies out to right field. So 1 run for Buffalo, 11-2 lead as we head to the 5th inning. And here in the bottom of the 5th, Bobby Bolig just drilled a home run to right field, so the lead is back to 10, 12-2. We had a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 5th for Barajas. So Bolig with his first home run of the postseason, 12-2 lead for Buffalo. Still only 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. And we were hoping to get 6 from Alexis Barajas, but we're gonna call it a day. 5 2/3 innings, 3 hits allowed, 2 walks, 2 earned runs, both on the solo homer. Struck out 8. Does have runners on first and second right now. He's 98 pitches into the game. Looks like he's starting to tire. So we are going to bring on the right-hander, Andrew Painter. See if Mr. Painter can perhaps give us a few innings. Most importantly, get Chase Bonaparte here to keep the lead at 10. And he struck him out to end the inning. So Barajas with a solid performance. You saw the worst of it with those 2 back-to-back home runs. Other than that, he only gave up 1 other hit. 2 earned runs allowed over 5 2/3 innings. So he is certainly in line for the W. And doesn't technically get a quality start, though. Misses out by that last third of an inning. The Giants have gone to the lefty, Matthew Liberatore, so we will probably start doing what we did yesterday, pinch hitting for some of our left-handed batters, trying to improve our defense when we can. We won't be pitching for Steve Anderson, though, because he is our best defensive shortstop at this point, with a 10-run lead. Hopefully not letting them score 10 runs over the last 3 innings, to me, is more crucial than trying to tack on an extra run or 2. And we've got runners on first and second. Steve Anderson at first, Deshaun Seifu at second. And so we're going to pinch hit for the left-handed batting Juan Estrada, give the young, hopefully budding superstar Arturo Flores another at-bat here against left-handed pitching. And he struck out, unfortunately. Mike Heiner now coming up. He is not great defensively, so we will pinch hit for him as well. We're going to go with Tyreek Hardage, who will upgrade our defense and hopefully come through with a clutch hit here as well. Doesn't look like he will. Hardage with a pop-up to the infield. And we are through 6, 12-2 Buffalo. And we made it to the 7th inning stretch. Painter ended up allowing a couple base runners in the top of the 7th, but had 2 more strikeouts, so he's gone an inning and a third at this point, hasn't allowed any runs. 12-2 lead for Buffalo as we head to the bottom of the 7th, and we are just 6 outs away from potentially taking a 2-0 lead in the series. And cleanup hitter Shamar Jenneret just hit his 2nd home run of the game. Obviously a solo shot to lead off the 7th inning here. Extend the lead to 13-2. Jenneret with his 3rd home run of the playoffs, his 2nd of this series. And that brings another call to the bullpen for San Francisco. Chris Persinger coming on. It's been an ugly day for the San Francisco pitching staff. And it continues to get uglier. Bobby Bolig walked, and now Cam Collier just drilled a 2-run home run to right field. So still no outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Buffalo up 15-2 on San Francisco. And with a 15-2 lead as we head to the 8th, we've got 2 of the next 3 hitters coming up, our lefties. So we are going to go to the lefty Matthew Wenzel here, kind of using some of the, we love our bullpen, but kind of using a 2nd-tier guy in terms of Wenzel. They make the switch, bring in a right-handed batter, Ed Stone. With a 13-run lead, we are at a point where we can trade 2 runs for every out. So not going to overthink this too much, but hopefully Wenzel will still have a scoreless inning for us here in the 8th. And Wenzel got through the inning, 3 up, 3 down, struck out the first 2 batters that he faced. So we are 3 outs away from putting this one into the books. But Joe Edwards just led it off with another home run. He came in to defend at first base. He's a little better defensively, or actually a lot better defensively than Flores. And like Flores, Edwards can hit the ball out of the yard, and he just did that. Another home run. First of the postseason for the youngster, 16-2 lead for Buffalo here in the bottom of the 8th. And as we head to the top of the 9th, the lead is 16-2. We're going to give Wenzel a long leash, going up against the right-handed batter Chase Bonaparte here, and he struck him out. The 3rd strikeout for Wenzel among the 4 batters that he's faced. Left-handed batter Moises Ballesteros, the catcher here, with 1 out. He walked him. So Balcazar now coming up. We'll go back to double play depth here, see if Wenzel can get out of this game on 1 pitch. Not to be the case. Drives it down to left field. A double, so runners on 2nd and 3rd now with only 1 out. And may have to use 1 more pitcher here. Got the right-handed batting Mooney up, so we will make a call to the bullpen, and we will bring in Yohani Varejo. And he struck him out. 2 away, 1 out left for the San Francisco Giants. Left-handed batter Colson Montgomery up now. And he singles to right field. Looks like that will score 1 run. Runners on 1st and 3rd with 2 outs here. Varejo now going against the leadoff hitter Drew Jones. And he struck him out to end the game. So 16 runs on 19 hits, no errors for the Buffalo Wings, 3 runs on 7 hits for San Francisco. Buffalo takes a 2-0 lead in this league championship series, and we are off to San Francisco. You can see all of the little icons that have been coming up here since I don't play out too many games. A lot of achievements in the big game here for the Buffalo Wings. 16-3 the final, as I mentioned, quickly became a rout. 3 hits from Seifu, 3 hits from Cam Collier, 3 hits from Steve Anderson, 4 ribbies from Jenneret, multiple ribbies also from Seifu, Estrada, Heiner, Bolig, and Cam Collier. The home runs, Jenneret with 2, Bolig, Collier, Edwards, so 5 home runs on the game. Seifu with the stolen base. Barajas with a solid performance for the W. Painter, Wenzel, and Varejo on in relief. We will be headed to San Francisco for Game 3 of the series in 2 games. But at this point, everything is going well for Buffalo in these playoffs so far. 5-0 through the first 5 playoff games of this 2034 season. Is it possible that these Buffalo Wings are a team of destiny? And you can see all those achievements that were flashing up there since I don't play out too many games. 10 runs scored in an inning. Every member of the starting lineup got hits. 8 hits in the first inning against San Francisco, and then 16 runs in the slugfest. So Buffalo up 2-0. Won the first game with a 2-1 pitchers duel, and then just absolutely battered San Francisco's pitching staff in Game 2, 16-3. And as promised, we will take a quick look at the International Amateur Free Agent class, which was just announced today. Obviously, we don't have much of any scouting accuracy on these players, and at least in these early stages, doesn't look like an incredibly impressive class. One 4.5-star prospect, and then a few 3-star prospects we'll look at right now. If you've got thoughts on which directions you would go, always interesting to hear. Hopefully we'll get to know these players and their potential ratings much better over the next few months. Third baseman Juan Cedillo, a 17-year-old out of the Dominican. Like his durability, the bat looks potentially decent. His defense leaves a lot to be desired, at least on first glance. Right fielder Jorge Presadeo out of Panama. Another guy whose defense doesn't look particularly advanced at this stage in his career. Not much speed. A little bit of a bat if it fully develops. Franco Valle, 17-year-old out of the Dominican. A lot of home run power, potentially decent eye. Another guy who is not fast and not impressive defensively. Sergio Herrera, 16-year-old out of Venezuela. A little more interesting prospect here, like the high work ethic, at least has above average range. Probably not a second baseman or a shortstop, but potentially a interesting-ish bat if it fully develops. David Gallardo, 17-year-old out of the Dominican. Looks like a right fielder, although he's listed as a center fielder right now. Like his durability, has enough speed to make a little bit of use out of that gap power. Also potentially plus contact and home run power for Gallardo. Alejandro Flores, a 16-year-old out of Costa Rica. Looks like he has potentially extreme home run power with a good eye. Going to struggle to make contact and going to struggle to avoid striking out. Does have some positive personality traits. Luis Cochina, a 16-year-old second baseman out of Venezuela with Colombian second citizenship. Don't love that he's fragile already at 16 years old, but potentially a pretty interesting contact bat. Not going to strike out all that much. Has some potential defensively. And then presumably Edgar Canales, the only guy that our scout sees as having more than 3-star potential, is the prize of this class. Like the high intelligence, a little bit of speed, decent outfield range, and potentially excellent contact and gap power with some potentially above average home run power as well. So Canales certainly looks like the most interesting prospect out there. If you've got thoughts on where we should go, always interested in hearing them. Kansas City and the Blue Jays are knotted up 1 game apiece in the American League Championship Series. And as we've been talking about, our Buffalo Wings are up 2-0 on San Francisco as we prepare to head to the city by the bay. We'll sim forward the next couple of days just to preview the potential pitching matchup before we sign off for a few days. And in game number 3 in San Francisco, our two-way player, Juan Estrada, who was the MVP of the NLDS this year and actually also 2 years ago, will be on the mound for us, 15-5 with a 3.04 ERA this year for the, I guess he's not so much of a young left-hander anymore. He's 27 years old at this point. He is a major league veteran, and he's going to be going up against Nate Glover, who's 2-0 this postseason, has not allowed a run, 12-10 with a 3.84 ERA for San Francisco during the regular season. The 29-year-old has won more than 12 games, at least 3 straight years at this point. Take a look at I'm looking at his batting stats, not his pitching stats. Won over 12 games each of the last 3 years after he came over to San Francisco from Seattle in a trade. So looks like a good, solid major league pitcher, 2-time All-Star, won the World Series last year with the Giants. So should be a interesting pitching matchup here in Game 3 with a 2-0 lead. The goal is to just make sure that we get at least one in San Francisco. Clearly would love to wrap up the series in these next 3 games and not even have to go back to Buffalo for any baseball until the World Series. But we've got more work to do. We're halfway to the World Series, though, with a 2-0 lead in the NLCS. And until our next episode, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.